Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Perspective. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and alongside me, my co-host for the evening, the one and only Brian, the BrainBug. How's it going, Brian?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Excited to take some calls today and look at some supernatural stuff and see what's going on there. Always fun. Yes. Always a good time.
And we're supposed to have a ghost hunter call in later too, which would be awesome.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
By the way, like I there was something I wanted to talk about, but since we already have callers waiting, we might just want to jump into that. But quickly, they found water on the moon, which is pretty exciting. And from what I was reading, they had thought they found it in 1990, but it ended up being like a shadow. Then they saw something in 2009, but as of yesterday, that was the first day they've officially confirmed water on the moon.
Yeah, fantastic. The origin story to the moon, if you ever get a chance to look into it or look at it, the leading theory anyhow, about the stellar collision and interstellar collision with theta. We look at it sometime. It's really fascinating stuff, and that's the elements that are on Earth. We should expect to find at least some of them on the moon as well.
Well, yeah, and they were also saying that the water being there, it could help work as a stop point, because then they can use the water to for the astronauts, for other things, and then take off from there.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Lots of good.
Anyways, you ready to jump into callers?
Let's do this.
All right. First caller, I don't see a name, but it looks like there is something freaky going on in your room. Hi. Who is this?
Sorry, it's Kit.
Hey, Kit. You're on with Ethan and Brian. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Thanks for calling today.
All right. Good to talk to you. So what do we got going on in your room? You want to break it down for us?
Oh, yeah. You guys ready? I got some great stories. I mean, they're not creepy. It's not super creepy. My husband sleeps through it all, so obviously it doesn't faze him whatsoever. But I must pick up on a lot of stuff. So we've lived in our house. We're renting right now. We've lived here for 3.5 years. And literally the week we moved in, the light in our bedroom started turning on. And it only turns on at nighttime. Okay. And it's, we've checked out the wiring. We've checked, talked to other neighbors to see if there's any remotes going on. No one has any other issues. It's just us. And so it's nightly, more than usually a nightly occurrence. And recently the activity seems to be picking up again, which I don't mind as much, but I'm more concerned for my kids since they're, my daughter's turning 5 tomorrow and my son is 3. And so both of them always want to sleep in a room, and you can only handle that so much if you have me. So
is it happening in their room?
My daughter says, so my daughter the other day just told me that she sees something underneath her dresser and it's got red glowing eyes. And I mean, granted, she's my kid, so we watch a lot of ghost shows together, and I don't know if she picks that up or if she's really just seeing something. So lately since I've been sensing more activity, I wanted to get a medium to come out and take a look at my house, because I'm like, I know there's something here. Maybe it's my half Mexican side, but I pick up all these vibes. And the other night, it was actually 4 nights ago now. Both my kids woke up. It was about 3:15 in the morning. Both woke up. First was my son. And so I went to his room and got him. And then my daughter came out of her room, and both of them were like, "Oh, I want to come sleep in your room." So I was like, "Okay, fine." So they came to sleep in my room with my husband still snoring the whole time. He didn't even know they walked in.
Okay.
And my son instantly fell asleep in our bed, and my daughter fell asleep in her sleeping bag that we have on our floor, because I can only handle so many people in my bed at once. And our overhead light turned on 7 different times between 3:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the morning. And the very last time that it turned on, I didn't even know it had. but I felt a finger touch my back. And as I woke up and turned my head, the light was on. And I thought it was my daughter like poking me in the back, but there was nothing there. So I was like, okay, now it's getting a little crazy. But we've had multiple, well, I've had multiple experiences. Like I said, my husband doesn't really think anything goes on. I mean, we've had, I've had my phone fall off the nightstand before.
Okay.
And as my phone was falling off the nightstand, instantly the light turned on above me. And I'm like, that's just not that's a weird coincidence, right? But then my other favorite story is my husband and I were doing adult activities. And as soon as we were done, the light turned on. So I'm like, great, now it's a voyeur, it's into voyeurism. So I do think that I do think it's a spirit that you can interact with. So like if the light turns on multiple times in the night and I get fed up, I'm like, listen, stop, like turn the fan off, leave it alone, and it'll listen and it'll do it. But it's, I don't really pick up much more than that. I don't see anything. I just kind of get like, that's a female spirit, but that's all I know. So
let me ask
crazy,
you this.
but
when you say your husband doesn't know if anything's going on, like, does he witness this and he's just not convinced it's supernatural, or where is he at on this?
Yeah. He thinks it's coincidence. He thinks it's the wiring, he thinks it's like, there's only one time in his entire like living here that he like got scared. And it was because, walking from our bedroom down towards our daughter's room, my daughter got freaked out and ran back towards him. And then he felt like a cold breeze. And so he got goosebumps too. And that's the one and only time he's ever told me he was scared. So I don't think he believes in it enough because he wants to buy this house by the end of the year. And I'm like, nope, let's please just move. I'm good. I've had my share.
I have a question about the lights, if I may. When the lights go on and go off, is it so there's the physical switch, and then does the light have a pull string? Is there a fan?
There's no pull string on it. No pull string. So we have a remote control, which is the only way that we change the speeds of the fan. We have a top light and a bottom light, so it's like one of those dual light things. Mm-hmm. And when the lights turn on, in order to we have a dimmer on it too. So in order to turn the light on, you have to press the button and then hold that button down in order to raise the light all the way to brightness. And I've woken up to the light turning on and then raising all the way up to full brightness. And that's the only time he'll wake up. So is when it's on full bright. Usually I'll just wake up with anything, being a mom, I've just gotten used to that. But
so is there a physical switch in addition to the controller? Is there a physical switch on the wall in addition to the controller? Is the controller it? Is that the only thing you control it with?
The switch on the wall only turns it on and off, just on and off. So it doesn't control the lights or anything else. And
when you have these experiences, is that switch flipping, or is it something in the light?
No, the switch is not flipping. Okay. No. No, because I've also I watch all these ghost shows, so I was like, oh, let's see if I can figure this out, what the hell's going on here. So I've left the light on, flipped up to see, with the lights off, with the fan off to see if it'll turn it on during the daytime. And there, of course, there's no issues during the daytime. It's just at night. Once the sun goes down, it's a completely different vibe.
So I have two possible guesses here. One, in colder weather, more wet weather, if there is wiring exposed, that can definitely, trip the light back and forth. However, with it being a remote, I'm wondering, have you tried removing the batteries from the remote for a night to see if it still happens?
Yes. My husband's actually an electrician for an oil refinery. And so the very first thing we did when we moved in was change the batteries, because we were having, the light turn on almost every single night. And so he's like, oh, well, it's obviously just faulty battery. So we changed the batteries, and then, it kept going on. And then so he looked up at the wiring, and he's like, I don't see any issues with it. It doesn't seem like there's any problem. But yet it continues.
And the only reason I would say that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is
the control, is it RF or is it IR? Do you have to point it at the light to control it? Radio frequency or infrared frequency, or just the two things that most remotes have to control it. There's either controlled by a radio frequency that's kind of broadcast out, or a infrared frequency, which is you actually pointed at it. So do you have to point the remote at the light to get it to work?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So it's
just like, and that's like when it first started happening. So we moved in July of 2017, and it started happening in the middle of July, and obviously now we're to cold winter and it's still continuing. So it's like, yeah, I have no explanation for it, but to my defense, we've had multiple neighbors in multiple areas of our subdivision who have also reported spirit activity, like things turning on and off, and just like there's actual poltergeist activity at some houses. Thankfully, we don't have that because I would probably flip my shit.
Most people would, I think.
The land itself seems to be haunted.
Okay, and don't feel like you have to be on the defensive with us. We're not trying to come down on you like that. We're saying, oh, you're crazy or you don't know what you're talking about or anything like that. We always look at all the mechanics of everything. That's kind of how we operate here. Is we try to think about what could be causing it naturally before we jump to a supernatural claim.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: I'm curious if you would try something for me. Could you one night take the batteries out for the remote and then also take some tape and tape the light switch off, or any and all light switches off? That way they're all secured, and the only way they can be moved is with like physical force, and have the battery out of the remote so there's no way it could get triggered. Would you be open to trying that for me?
Yeah, I probably will try that the entire rest of this week, quite honestly, since it's, Halloween week. So
yes.
I'm interested to know if it would actually do anything too,
And I'm curious, if it doesn't, I know we talked briefly on Facebook, but I would love the opportunity to take a look at this and possibly bring, cameras and investigate it. If you're open to that, you don't have to answer now, obviously, but
you would get, and you can, I would have to have my kids obviously out of here, but I have multiple orbs on video recordings because it's been so much activity in this house. Like just the other day, I was on Zoom. I'm a workout instructor. And so we do our Zoom classes on Zoom. And as I had it facing me in the kitchen, right behind me is our garage door, and there were literally orbs just materializing and then getting that long, like orb string, like when you actually see a ghost or a spirit move and then just disappear. And I was like, what? They're everywhere. There's orbs everywhere. And I thought it was just dust, I'm very conscientious about this, but it doesn't, it literally seems like there's actual things here.
I gotta say, I'm actually really intrigued by this, Kit. It sounds like you do have a lot going on here. First and foremost, I'd say let's try that test out and see what happens. I'll say this.
I don't know if I'll be more scared if it turns on or off, though. Like, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to freak myself out over that.
I would love to look at your pictures too. If you have pictures of orbs, we can maybe set up a little Facebook chat group where you can share them with us so we can kind of look at them.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't find orbs compelling, but I'll definitely look at pictures. Mm-hmm. Just because there's so many natural occurrences in photography that can cause a similar event. Yeah. It's hard to say, well, these are ghosts and this is dust or water droplets or anything like that. So I'll be skeptical to that, but I would love to see them and see what we're capturing.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I have is video because taking stills of it seems to not work as much. But I have plenty of video, and it's actually pretty funny / interesting / terrifying. So, I'd love to share it all.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see that footage. Yeah, that's for sure. So if you can, we're connected together.
Or footage Facebook of the lights going on and off. That would be amazing. If you could, I don't know if you could time lapse a camera or something like that. Maybe something to think about, but.
I've considered putting a video camera while we're sleeping in here, but it almost terrifies me to death to think that I could actually see something moving in here. So that's why I haven't done it.
Yeah, I could understand that.
I mean, you could run a webcam on your laptop and just record and just have it open and don't. But yeah, I get what you're saying about being like kind of doing a paranormal activity kind of thing, watching the film or watching the recording the next day.
That would be scary if you are watching the recording and then all of a sudden you see something happening. I got to say that would be quite interesting to look into.
I mean, it's interesting to watch other people do it, but to watch myself have to go, I don't know.
Awesome. Well, Kit, I really appreciate you taking the time to tell this story. And then if you could send me that footage and I'll bring it into a chat with Brian. And then also let me know how that test goes, because I'm not only intrigued by this, I'm excited that we live somewhat close to each other and there may be the opportunity to investigate something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kit. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I appreciate you taking the time to call us and share your story.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kit.
All right, bye.
I gotta say, I'm intrigued by this, Brian. I really want to see what's going on here.
I know. I could see you light up when she was talking about it. Like, yes, I'm going to go see what's going on.
Yes, because it's not often something like this happens so close, and from what she's saying, so consistent that I may actually be able to see something like this. That's why, dude, when people say I'm closed-minded, I gotta laugh because this stuff intrigues me. It's fascinating, and the idea that, or even the possibility that something could be going on, intrigues me. But me wanting it to go on doesn't mean I'm going to, let it supersede my skepticism.
Have you ever participated in a ghost hunt, Ethan?
I guess not with like professional ghost hunters, but yes, I went to a few haunted locations when I did believe in ghosts. There's only one story that stands out. However, looking back, it's like,
Yeah, so I did some ghost hunting stuff in my teens with a paranormal research group or whatever, a local group. It was when I was a kid. Well, I shouldn't say kid. I was like 17, 18 years old. There was stuff the same kind of. I thought it was compelling at the time, but looking back at it now, I'm not really compelled by it anymore. And I had orb pictures. I had stuff like that as well. So I get where she's coming from, and it's easy to when you see that and you have stuff going on, you see that in the pictures to try to connect the dots, but sometimes the dots don't connect.
Well, I hope that if say my suggestion doesn't work and the lights are still going on, I'm hoping that she'll give me the opportunity to check it out before a medium gets there, because I don't want to see her spending money paying someone and possibly getting duped. That would be my only concern. Or someone saying, hey, I'm going to do something about this, cast some spells and charge them. That's where my concern is right now. So I'd love to get to the bottom of what's going on.
Yeah, you give it a good skeptical once over before she tries to invest too much into dealing with it. Especially if we're talking about buying the house, because that's a big investment. Doesn't sound like she's really not wanting to.
Well, maybe we could figure it out before then. Who knows? Right. By the way, thank you to our moderators. Thank you, P. Hi, everyone into the audience. And also, if you're watching us on Facebook, there is a link in the description that will take you over to YouTube. If you can do that, that helps us out a lot. Would you like to get to our next caller?
Yes, let's see what we got going on in the next call.
Awesome. Amber, you are on with Ethan and Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. What do you got for us?
Okay. So back when I was 18, I got a job babysitting for this couple. I grew up by Star Rock area. So their house is out in the country a couple miles from Star Rock. And Star Rock is known to have a lot of haunted activity because of their history. So, I'm sorry?
Oh, no. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, I thought somebody said something. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'll take the job. I took my best friend with me, so I wasn't by myself because it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty black out there. So I get to the house with my friend, and they're going over the rules for the kids. They casually tell me that there's a bat in the closet.
A
And we're
bat?
like, okay, a bat. Yes, like a baseball bat. And they told us, yeah, we've been having problems with this guy. So if you have any issues, like if he comes to the house, here's this bat. And we're both like, oh, what the heck? You know, what did we get ourselves into?
Right.
So the parents, and they told us that he had a van. So we're like, okay. So we get into this house, and it had like a creepy vibe. I always kind of had this intuition, like with the energy, like I could just feel something was different in this house.
Okay.
But I never really understood what that meant. I'm just like, oh, this just feels creepy, you know? So the mom told us before they left, you know, we have this Ouija board. If you want to play this Ouija board, we play it all the time. It's no big deal. And at the time, like, I was always obsessed with the supernatural, watching ghost stories. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, who better to talk to the other side than, like, through a Ouija board, right? To see if this is the real thing, because I was skeptic.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, let's try this. So the first time, there was 3 different occasions when we went to this house. So the parents left, and we're talking to the kids. We're like, we were scared to play it because this house is weird, and we're just like, oh, do we want to even try this? And we talked to the little girls, and they're like, oh yeah, we play it. And they're like 7 and 8 years old, and we're like, oh, you are so little, and you're playing. So they weren't scared. So we're like, okay, let's do this. So I was asked to talk to my grandma. I'm like, Grandma, you know, just talking, chit chat, and she'd tell me how proud she was through the board, the Ouija board. I wanted to make sure my friend wasn't pushing the cursor, and sure enough, she wasn't, because she would take her hands off, and I could feel the energy moving the cursor to answer me. And it gave me, like, I felt warm, like I felt like, oh wow, this is my grandma. Like whatever I was talking to won me over. I legit thought I was talking to grandma.
Okay.
So, so that night it was a good experience. My friend and I, we just went back and forth. We asked like whoever, I can't, like the details it was so long ago, it gets a little confusing, like who was asking the questions, but we asked like, you know, what is it like where you're at? And it would told us that it was dark and cold, and whatever it was had to sleep on the floor. We're like, okay, you know, and like it never gave us a weird vibe. Like I always assumed I was talking to grandma, and she she actually had an abortion, and she would ask to talk to her child. So that night was okay. The second time we go back, the parents leave, we're talking to the Ouija board. I always ask for grandma. My friend asked to talk to her baby, and they had this big Great Dane, and she would ask the baby, like, you know, what are you doing right now? And it said that it was petting the dog, and the dog looked like somebody was legit petting it. And we're like, oh my God, that's so weird. Like, you're right here next to us. So we're playing the board. All of a sudden, it's telling us that, we asked if somebody died in the house, because we're like, we feel something in the house. So the board answered that a little girl had died in the house, and the name was written down in the basement on the stairwell. And we're like freaking out. So we asked the little girl, she was in the other room. We're like, did somebody die? She's like, oh yeah, their name is on the staircase. And we went and looked, and sure enough, the name was there. So we're like freaking out. We're like, wow, this thing is like real. It's talking to us, giving us answers to things that we always wanted to know. So we're like, we were hooked.
So let me ask you this.
The board started,
Have any of you ever done the Ouija board blindfolded?
Oh, okay. So the second time, I wanted to make sure like my friend was not messing with the thing. Like I already felt like she wasn't, because she would pull her hands off and it was just me. And I had no, like, I'm not going to answer it myself, clearly. So I would ask the questions in my mind and it would answer me. I didn't speak it. It was all in my mind, and the board would answer me. And they, like, I study a lot of people that have died and crossed over. They talk about, like, what happened in their near-death experience. And they always say that we don't talk in the physical. Like, it's not, we're not physical beings. We're spiritual. And everything is telepathic. So when after I found out I can ask these questions in my head, like I didn't want my friend to know the questions I was asking. Like I was always like just asking it through my head and it would answer.
So let me ask
But
you
I
this.
did not do a blindfold.
When you ask, can you ask questions in your head at any point?
Yeah.
And
it's like, you know, when you're thinking, you know.
And do you have, for instance, who do you think you're communicating with? Like, is it one spirit, multiple spirits? Or do you think like God? Where are you at on this?
I always assumed, like at that moment, I always asked to talk to Grandma because I loved Grandma. I missed her. She had been gone for like 15 years, so I wanted to talk to Grandma. So I always felt like I was talking to Grandma.
How do you feel about that now? Do you still feel like you were talking to Grandma?
Oh, no, because the story completely changes.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to cut in. Go ahead.
So after we find out about the little kid that died in the house, the board started telling us that we had to leave the house. And we're like, you know, why? We're having fun. We're talking to Grandma, so we think, and her baby. And it's like, no, like it was, I could feel like the energy was like, no, you have to leave. So we're kind of getting a little scared. The light in the living room started flickering. And then the candle, they had a candle, it wasn't even burning, and it just exploded. And we're like, oh shit, we got to get out of here. So the board told us also what time to come back. And we're like, okay. So we grabbed the kids because we're freaking out because the stuff was happening. So we get in the car and we notice there's that van and a dude is sitting in the van. So we're like freaking out. And we're like panicking because if I told my mom, like I was playing the Ouija board, she would kill me. So we just drove around until the time that we were told to come back. Right when we come back, like we noticed the van was gone and the parents had just we both came back to the house at the same exact time.
Okay.
And we were just like freaking out. After that experience, I'm like, Rachel, that's my friend. I'm like, I am not going back to this house again. Like that was crazy. Like you can't really explain anything like that. Like it was so bizarre. So
real quick,
people had asked me. Yeah.
Sorry, there's you're throwing a lot out there, so I just have some questions.
Yeah.
One question would be if you're regularly communicating with this supernatural, whatever, I'm not sure what you want to call it, you possibly Grandma or someone else, do you think you could ask them for compelling evidence that would convince Brian and myself, or quite possibly reveal themselves to us?
Oh, well, this was so long ago. I'm like, I will never do anything like that again, because what I'm about to go into, you'll understand why. I don't trust when you huh?
Things are going to about to head south.
Am I? What?
No, you're fine.
Sorry, do you live in Chicagoland?
I'm in Romeoville. So the house, this was back like forever ago, like 18 years ago.
Okay.
This house. And I drove by the house because I went down to start. My family still lived down there.
Crap, what just happened?
Did we lose her?
The line just dropped. Crap. Amber, if you can hear us, call back.
She
Shit.
didn't even finish her story. Something was going to happen.
I know.
I'm compiling questions and looking up some of the stuff about the Ouija boards and whatnot over here, and I was hoping to get a chance to talk to her to go through her claim. So I wanted to let her finish her story first.
Same. Amber, if you're listening, if you could call back, and real quick, let's get in while we're waiting for Amber to call back, we have the paranormal investigator on the line. Nathan, you are on with Ethan and Brian. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. So you're a
Great.
paranormal investigator?
Yes, I've been doing paranormal investigations for probably the last 5 to 6 years.
Awesome. Could you, in just like a short summary, how did you get into that?
Yeah. So as a kid growing up, I kind of knew the house I lived in had something going on there. I didn't really see anything or it was anything too crazy, but then I got into as I grew up, I just, you always had certain feelings in the house, and when you feel like there's a spirit around, usually you or something around, you usually get the goosebumps, things like that. But I grew up and I went into the funeral industry. I was in the funeral industry for 13 years, and you just start to see things. And I've seen things and heard things a lot, as I was going through, my career in the funeral industry. And I've seen a lot of pretty bad things, pretty wicked things, pretty nasty things.
Okay.
But I've also seen a lot of paranormal things, like just people that were there and then they're not. Just as I got older and older, it just kind of interested me more and more. I paid more attention to it, I think, and then I just started to do investigations and got more and more equipment, and now we're kind of full blown investigating a few different places.
Have you investigated any place notable? Any place that we might have heard of?
Well, where are you guys from?
Chicagoland.
Yeah, both of us are from Chicago.
No.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done anything. I've stayed in Wisconsin for now. A couple places there: Broadhead Manor, Old Baraboo Inn, Sanatorium Hill is in Madison. That's where I live. Some stuff in Door County. Been over to Milwaukee, so we're kind of expanding out into one of the places we're going to go to is the Valeska's axe murder house in Iowa. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but nothing super notarized like that. It has a big calling, but every place that I've gone, not every place, but just about every place that I go to has got activity. So, yeah, that's kind of where I've been so far, and seen a lot and experienced a lot. That's for sure.
Awesome, thank you. And what would you say then, if you right now to convince us, what is your most compelling ghost story or supernatural experience? Like, what is something that really would blow our minds?
So I've been, I think the biggest thing to me is, the interaction that I have with talk back and forth, like literally having a full blown conversation through a SP7 spirit box. Or there's a couple other things that we use.
SP7 spirit box. Okay. Sorry.
Continue. Yeah, SP7 spirit box. Nope, it's all right. Goes through very quickly. Goes through frequencies, radio frequencies, and it just. I don't know, a lot of people like, oh, that's the radio. Well, when they say your name consistently and they're responding to your questions, like you have intelligent responses. The radio thing's kind of shot because I don't know a whole lot of radio stations that consistently say Nathan or Nate. And so I've had conversations with spirits. I've been touched. That's an experience quite a few different times. So I guess if there's one in particular to give you guys to convince you that, you know, honestly, it's hard because I've got, you know, I have an SLS camera, which is, I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but if you guys seen any of the ghost shows, it's like the stick figures. It kind of shows you where, you know, if there's apparitions in there or not. I'm at a place, I go to a place called the Old Baraboo Inn in Baraboo, Wisconsin quite a bit. And I help like host miniature ghost hunts there. They call them mini ghost hunts. They're like an hour long, but what I do is I've caught a lot of X-rated things happening in the old brothel in the upstairs. And when I say X-rated, use your imagination. It's literally, I have about 5 or 6 different videos of that. But I guess the Old Baraboo Inn is I've had a lot of different experiences. I've been touched. I was down in the basement. It's a pretty dark, it's got some dark energy down there. And I'm with a group. I'm walking in the back to make sure there's no stragglers. They just kind of do a walkthrough and literally got zapped on my neck. Like, you know how you get an electrical shock, like a friend, you know, sometimes your friends are messing around, they rub their socks on the carpeting and then they touch you and they give you a zap. I literally got that on the back of my neck and there was nobody around me and nothing touched me. Well, nothing that I could see. And I literally heard the zap. So there was nothing above me that was electrical that could have zapped me. It was pretty crazy. I did jump.
So my first question regarding the radio, is it, I guess, how many times has someone said your name, and has it happened at different locations, or was this a one-off event where they kept saying it?
No, this has been numerous times in a lot of different places. I think I have a few spirits that follow me. I don't know who they are exactly, but I get my name said a lot, and it's not just with just the SB7 and the radio frequency. It sweeps the radio like literally each channel like in literally like milliseconds. Just do. It just uses the white noise and the frequency so that it's said that spirits can communicate that way.
So it's like an EVP kind of thing, where it's kind of a voice in the static in a way. Is that what we're hearing? Your voice or your name?
It's literally just a person's voice. It could be a man, could be a woman, could be a child. I've got a lot of different videos where we've caught that, where for a spirit to communicate or to do anything, it takes a lot of energy, because obviously everything is energy, and so that's why spirits aren't just walking around all the time. They need energy to manifest or to do anything, and that's why I feel like we don't get a lot of just clear, concise, right there in your face whenever they want communication.
What kind of energy are we talking? Like a energy that'd be detectable? Is that what the spirit box is picking up on? You believe is the because the spirit boxes, I understand it, are detecting EMF, right? EMF frequency.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that's why a lot of I don't know. For me, I used to have my cameras would die all the time. The camera battery would die instantly, or some of my equipment just run on batteries. And so you get that a lot where if it's a high energy area or there's a lot of spirits around and you're trying to communicate, your stuff goes dead. And then you got to, replace it with batteries. Or now I've learned, I got smart and got the big battery packs that you can plug into. So that's not something that happens a whole lot anymore. But from my experiences, yeah, it's you get the EMFs, you get just the energy. It's hard. I don't know exactly what kind of energy it is. I mean, sometimes you feel a spirit around, you feel like a static on your body. Sometimes, you feel a different feeling, a cold or warm. I think it's a little different with each person that's trying to communicate with you.
How far outside of Chicago did you say you were?
I'm in Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison.
You guys I will welcome you guys anytime you want to go on an investigation with me. I'll invite both of you guys.
That's actually what I'm thinking. I would love the opportunity to do that.
Well, what I can do is I'm going to set something up with you guys then when we after the show. There's a place that I want you to go. You guys will experience something there. It's my place that I do a lot of stuff there. The old Baraboo one, like I talked about, that's probably going to be your spot. There's going to be other haunted places. There's a lot of haunted places, but I haven't experienced the kind of responses and the interactions that I have like I have there. So that's the place I would take you guys to go investigate.
I am definitely down to do this. It looks like it's only about 2 hours and 30 minutes away. So,
well, I'm on the other side of Peoria, so I'm a bit further.
oh, yeah, you're much further. Well, I'm down to do this.
Yeah.
So I guess here is one of my main questions. How did you narrow it down to being a spirit? Or I guess how do you know it's a spirit or a ghost as opposed to some type of other entity? Or for example,
or other phenomenon of another kind. Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, the biggest reason that I feel like it's a spirit to me is just is the interactions that you get. Sometimes they'll answer your questions for you, and you can hear a voice, and sometimes the voices are completely different, and or you're talking to a little kid. It's just little things that you do. I guess you don't really know because you could be lied to. I mean, if you get into some dark energy, they try and make you think they're a little kid, and it's not. That happens. Has it happened to me a ton? Not a ton, but it's happened. I've been on negative energy, dark energy. It's definitely nothing to mess with. That's for sure.
So would you entertain the prospect that it would, aside from natural phenomenon, which we can talk about if you want, but would you be opposed to the prospect that it could be extraterrestrial, extra dimensional, or even demonic in some way?
Extra dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, it's not a, like when I go and investigate, it very well could be that. I'm not 100% sure. I just go by, the feelings that I feel, and yeah, that could be something different. You never know. I mean, I know that a lot of the places that I've investigated that have had, where I've experienced the paranormal activity is Indian burial grounds that have been disrupted. Numerous occasions that's usually the case. So could it be something other than a spirit? Could it be, like you said, extraterrestrial? It very well could be, and that all that stuff interests me, and I would be opposed to trying to investigate some of that stuff as well.
There is something that, and maybe you might even have equipment to detect it. Are you familiar with infrasounds? Low frequency infrasounds. It's sound, that's basically so low that we can't detect it with our ears, but we can kind of feel the vibration. There's been some study done, like the Stanley Hotel and stuff like that, where they pick up these infrasounds and they cause people to get really uneasy or uncomfortable or even frightened. And I wonder if we took some equipment to some of these locations where these experiences are happening, if we might pick up on some infrasounds, or scratch it off the list one way or the other. If it's infrasound that's causing that sensation, so be it. But if it's not, then that's just another thing you can check off of a natural phenomenon that would be calling it. Would that be something you'd be interested in pursuing, maybe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm interested in this stuff, whether it be paranormal, whether it be extraterrestrial, whether it be, any of this, because, I want answers. And that's why I do it, is because, you have a lot of skeptics, which I understand, but I've experienced too many things to think that it's all just a sham or it's fake, So yeah, if there's anything we can do to prove, to get some more evidence to show that this stuff is real, I'm game for sure.
I'm impressed. It's not often people from your industry that I've met are open to other possibilities. It's really exciting to hear that, which
refreshing.
Yeah, it is, because some people are very set in their ways and just is it. Can't change my mind.
And when we ask these questions
Really,
to some of
yeah.
our callers, they get a lot of pushback and go on the defensive. And I want everybody to feel like open dialogue. Let's talk about all the options.
Exactly.
I'm sorry I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, no, you're completely. I cut you off. I apologize. No, I'm open to it because I want to know. It's not because I doubt what I've experienced. It's just if there's more out there, then let's find out. Let's see what's out there, because I believe that there's other things out there. And the only way to prove it is by doing the investigations and getting the evidence to show that. So I'm game for all of that. I'm not set in my ways of this is the way it is and that's it. If there's something more to it and we can investigate it to try and bring evidence forth, I'm game for sure.
Well, and I got to be honest, I kind of hope it's like alternate dimensional beings, because that's always fascinated me. Like, just the idea of the multiverse is such an exciting concept for me.
So many things can be blanketed under that. All aliens and ghosts and demons and Bigfoot and everything can be extra dimensional if something like that existed. It's really there's some, as far as other dimensions, there's some hypotheses and stuff out there that actually have some scientific grounding about extra dimensional existence, at least, maybe not travel, but we can speculate on that. But yeah, it's always an interesting kind of prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, the investigating of it is what intrigues me, and getting the evidence. There's nothing better than when you're doing an investigation, because you'll go on an investigation, you record stuff and all that, and you may not hear or feel like you hear anything, and then you go back and look at your footage, or you listen to your electronic voice recorders, and all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, what's that? Do you hear that, or do you see that? That happens probably 75% of the evidence is usually after you go through your evidence. So that's the exciting part. When you see that stuff, there's nothing better. You just get your adrenaline pumping, and you're like, okay, this is good. This is cool.
Oh yeah, you get yourself all primed up for that experience, and then have something actually seem like, at least appear to be happening. I imagine that's probably quite the thrill, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's why I do it. Is it's just more evidence for people that, I've got a lot of people who, are kind of skeptical, or not a lot, but a few that, and it's like, well, all right, well, explain this one away.
Right.
Which you can sometimes, and maybe it's something where it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Maybe that's what it is. It could be that. I'm not a person who says, nope, this is what it is, and that's it. I always take everybody's point of view into consideration. I'm not perfect, so
if for our earlier caller, she's open to the possibility of us or me, going out to her house and taking a look. If I can't find a natural means, then I'll be giving you a call so we could, do the supernatural testing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have places that within I'm not opposed to traveling, and I got a lot of equipment and stuff to measure, things. And I know you guys sound like you guys do too, for like the, you said infrasound or whatever. And, I'm always game to come with you guys if you guys want to do that sometime. I mean, obviously I'll have you guys up for investigation up here in my neck of the woods, but I'm not opposed to going down by you guys and with some stuff and kind of seeing what we can catch.
Well, I will definitely take you up on that, Nathan. Brian, did you have any more questions?
No, this has been a great call, and I'm glad to see that you're open to some different possible answers to the experiences you've had, and are willing to investigate and look into that. So it sounds like there's going to be a future here. So I'm here every other Tuesday. Keep calling back, man. Love to hear some more of your stories.
Connie said she wants us to bring her with. So.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine if she can handle it. I mean, it can get kind of scary. So
well, I'm excited. If it's okay with you, I'm going to send you a friend request when this show ends on Facebook. Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely, that works.
Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate you taking the time to call in today, and I hope you have a safe rest of your week.
Yeah. Have a happy
You
Halloween.
do the same. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, have a
Yeah,
good
you
Halloween.
too. Oh yeah, I got a good investigation coming on Halloween night. So full
Awesome.
moon, full blue moon. Yeah.
Ooh, keep me posted on what you find.
Sounds
I
interesting.
will absolutely. I will definitely do that. If you guys, go to if you guys don't mind going to my Facebook page, the Richwood Investigators of the Paranormal. There are some videos on there for some of the evidence. I never post anything that I don't think is real. So if you guys get a chance to do that, that'd be awesome too.
Definitely.
But I'll look for your progress after this, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan.
Sweet. Thank you guys. You guys have a good rest of the night.
You too. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Dude, I'm excited. This is like 2 in a row that I'm gonna get to look into. Like, I am so ready to drive up there so I can go on a ghost hunt.
You got to keep us posted when you're up there walking around them houses at night with your green camera.
Yes. Well, I'll definitely be prior to going talking with you and Puck to try and set up some parameters, things to look out for to make sure, I can do sufficient testing on my side as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're by Peoria?
No, I'm on the. I'm still a couple hours, or not? Yeah, a couple hours west of Peoria. Still, I'm on the other side of the state. Yeah, I was saying you were from the Chicagoland.
You really are far. Okay.
I'm on the Mississippi on the other side of Illinois, so closer to St. Louis.
Yeah, that's a hike. Darn.
Yeah. But he was talking about Iowa. I used to. I think I've been to that axe murder house that he was talking about.
Really?
this Villiskia or what? I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I think I've been there before when I was a young man.
When you're still a young man, Brian.
Thank you. Yeah.
We do have open lines if you'd like to call in. However, it looks like we got Amber back. Amber, you're back on. How's it going?
I'm good.
All right. So,
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, me neither. But if you could go ahead and wrap up the story you were talking about earlier.
The Ouija board. I think we were too. Things were starting to go. Looking like they were going to go bad. So we were kind of anticipating, and then you dropped.
Right. Yeah, I was like, what the heck happened? Okay, so I'm trying to think. Did I told you about we left the house, we came back, and the parents were home. They asked me to come back to the house, and I'm like, no, not going back. So they ended up asking my best friend. And she's like, you got to come with me. I'm not going back there. I'm like, I'm not going back there. And she begged me, so I ended up going back with her the third time. So we go back the third time. I forgot to mention, before the board told us, Grandma told us to leave the house the second time, I asked Grandma for the lotto tickets. I'm like, Grandma, give me the lotto tickets. We need some money. The board's giving me lotto tickets. So I'm like, all right. So the third time, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to ask Grandma why I didn't win the lotto, because I played these numbers. I was kind of pissed off, like, Grandma, what, you sent me up here. So we get back to the house. We're playing the board. Again, like usual, asking to talk to Grandma. I'm like, Grandma, why didn't I win the lotto? And the board started spelling out bitch. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, why is Grandma calling me a bitch? And I could feel the energy in the house like really shift, like to a negative energy. So I'm bawling, like I'm crying because I'm thinking Grandma's calling me a bitch. I'm like, why would you say that, Grandma? And the board told me that it was my grandpa who was also deceased. And I never knew my grandpa, so I'm really losing it because I don't even know this man, and I'm thinking, he's calling me a bitch, and it told me that my friend won the lotto, and I'm like getting irritated because I'm like, my Rachel, she didn't even play the lotto, so how could she have won? So it just started getting really tense in the room. So it's a 2-story house, and we're in the kitchen. All of a sudden, it sounded like somebody was upstairs, like jumping and kicking the ground, and we're all on the main floor. So we're like, we got to get out of here. So we left, and we just came back in a couple hours, and when the parents said they were coming home, and we waited out in the car until they came home, and that was the last time we went there. So I don't know how long the lapse of time was, but something had followed me home to my parents' house. I never was scared being alone at my parents' house growing up. So I have a big old box TV in my bedroom. There's no remote. I always turn the TV off when I go to sleep. I don't like the TV on. I like the fan. So I turn the TV off. Something turned my TV on out of nowhere. And I was like, what the heck's happening? And I could feel like even at my parents' house, the energy of the house changed. And I've never felt anything like that at home. So it was Christmas time. I was watching TV. I was looking at the Christmas tree. My other grandma, gave me an ornament. And I'm like, oh, and then I looked back at the television. I looked back at the tree at that same ornament. The ornament fell to the ground. So I'm like, oh, what is happening? And, it's winter time, so nothing, no windows or anything were open. My dad would always be in the basement, but at the time I was home alone. I thought I heard somebody calling my name, but I know my parents' voice. They weren't home, but it sounded like it was coming from the basement. So I'm like, I'm scared because I'm like, there's nobody in this house. Why am I hearing this? And I heard it again, and I ended up leaving the house until my mom came back. And then the last thing and the worst thing of all, I had to work at a kitchen. So I had to be there at 6 a.m. to get the food delivered. I have OCD with alarms. I set like 20 alarms to wake up because I'm so paranoid about missing the alarm to wake up. So I set all my alarms every night like clockwork. The little bastard did not, whatever it was, turned my alarms off. Now, one of my alarms went off. I just happened to wake up. I was 20 minutes late to be at work to get the food out. So, I was so mad. But eventually, probably about a week or so, it did finally leave my parents' house. Nothing else had happened after that.
All right, so let's try and condense this down real quick. Are you still in communication with anybody?
No, this was so long ago. After all that stuff happened, I'm like, and then the last time when it was, it turned really bad, we both said we're not going back to the house, so we don't talk to them anymore. But I did see a couple years ago, there was an article where they did have a medium or something come out to the house. I was trying to find the article, but I couldn't find it. That they were like, yeah, this place is haunted. I'll try and get their exact address, and maybe I can pull it up that way.
Do you know who the medium was?
Go out to the house.
Do you know who the medium was?
Do I know them?
Yeah,
it's hard to hear,
name.
Brian.
Do you know the medium's name?
Oh, no. So I'll try and do my best to try and find that article. I recently just tried to find it again, but I haven't had any luck. So the next time I go out by my parents, I'll drive by the house and get the address and see if I can look some stuff up.
Yeah, if you could. And I guess I almost wish you were still in communication somehow, so then that way we could ask you to speak to these spirits or whatever you think they are and ask them to reveal themselves to us.
Oh, yeah. So after the last time I vouched, I'm never touching the Ouija board again. I did not, it really scared me. So I'm like, I'll never go into that situation again.
Okay. So, well, that kind of stinks.
So this was years ago then. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago, like 18, 20 years. I don't even know how long, but it was a long time. I know the house is still there. I did drive by there recently.
But do you think, because I mean Ouija boards theoretically they work everywhere, not just in like a haunted location. So do you think that what you were dealing with was something attached to the house itself, or something that was brought forth by the Ouija board?
I think we pulled something in because, like I said before, I wasn't scared to play it, like, because I always thought and felt like, yeah, I'm talking to my grandma. And then, like, the last time, and then when it told us to leave, like, it was protecting us. So I wasn't scared unless it was just tricking us to gain our trust.
Have you ever looked into, after you had this experience, did you ever look into any of so there's explanations that they have in the scientific community for the kind of phenomenon you experienced with like a spirit board or a planchette, which sounds like maybe what you were using there, a Ouija board, basically. These divining tools, that there's scientific explanations that they have for them. Did you ever, and I'm not saying that oh, it's this is the answer, but had you ever looked into any of that stuff since these events happened?
No, because when I felt like we were using it and when it was answering the questions through my mind, I'm like, I know, like, this is something I can't see and it's moving the board. Okay. Like, I knew it was a spirit. Like, I could feel, and like, there's really no possible way to, explain that. Because my friend wasn't even touching the board. She doesn't know, like, what I'm asking, and it's answering me. And
you were alone using the board then? There was no one else's hands on the planchette?
Yeah, correct. Like, at first we would both play, but, like, when it was, like, when we just wanted to ask it questions, like, it would just be me, and she'd be in the room with me. But, like, it was only my hands on deck. And she wasn't touching it. And some of the times, like, I wouldn't have to touch the cursor. Like, it would just move. Like, I would just put my hands over it, and the thing would move, and I would just follow it.
So let me ask you this. Would you be willing to try a Ouija board one more time with a few people, a camera, and a blindfold on everyone?
Ugh.
Like, for example,
I'm so scared after that last time.
What if somebody was
I'm
there?
Terrified.
What if somebody was there, like myself, who wasn't blindfolded and could watch for warning signs or potential dangers?
I don't know, but we did try and play the Ouija. Like, before the third time, somebody else, one of our other friends, decided, well, because they heard about our experience, and they bought a board, and we tried, like, at their place where they lived. And nothing happened. So, like, you really have to be, like, in something where, like, that energy is open. And because I don't know if you know the history about Star Rock, like, the Native Americans, they fought for the land. So there's a lot of death that happened in that area. So, like the guy before, he was talking about the Indian burial grounds. Like, I believe, like, it may be something like that has happened. Like, that's why it's easier to pull that in.
Let me ask you this. Are you aware that when people are blindfolded with the Ouija board on, that the spirits typically, or whatever you want to call them, stop communicating? Or, for instance, they're communicating, but they're not finding the right letters anymore. Or if you, for instance, blindfold people and flip the board, what will happen is they'll still go to where they think the letters are, but it won't actually spell
Mhm.
anything. So it seems to only work when people are able to see it.
No,
The
never heard that.
the name for the phenomenon that it is attributed to that is idiomotor
Thank
phenomenon.
you. Oh, I couldn't get that out. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. It's there's some. Again, I'm not trying to discount your experience, but it's definitely when you have these experiences, it's always a good idea to look at the supposed explanation for your experience. You know, if it's say a Ouija board, something like that, look at what they say or what kind of what the explanation that is given scientifically for it. It's not saying that you have to accept it, but it's always a good idea to at least look into it to try to, again, like I was saying with our friend before, to check it off your list. If you can check for these scientific methods of verifying what you're experiencing, the only thing you can do is increase your what's the word I'm looking for? Your assuredness that what you experienced was something supernatural by going through and checking off the natural explanations.
Right.
Just wanted to throw that out there. So it's not going to hurt anything to look at what the science says. It should only strengthen your position if it all checks out.
All right.
All right, Amber.
Thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you for calling in.
Thank you for calling. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
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 I'm always more excited when people are willing to test, their claims, to put them under the microscope and see what's actually going on. And hopefully,
yeah.
Puck's now watching. I don't know if you caught the whole broadcast, Puck, but a paranormal investigator and possibly this other lady are going to let me go to her house and check out some of their problems they're having. So I'll need to consult you so we can set up some parameters. You were going to say something, Brian. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just again, like you were saying, I'm thrilled when people are like, yeah, let's check off these natural phenomenon first, because you have to do that. It's
Right.
It's I don't want to say you're being disingenuous. You may be being disingenuous to yourself to not check into the natural explanations first.
Yeah, it's in many ways you're kind of closing yourself off to other explanations, and you're convincing yourself that this one thing is the answer. And I think it's important to always take a step back and look at any and all possibilities, or as Brian said, look at the natural possibilities first.
Yeah, and then you can go through in the fun stuff, the aliens and interdimensional and ghosts and demons and all that good stuff. You can definitely explore those answers, but check off the natural stuff first. It always makes things a little more cohesive when you investigate.
Right. If you have a supernatural claim, conspiracy theory, or belief in aliens, call the number at the bottom of the screen. We're here every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Although I think next Tuesday, since it's the election, we will be skipping a week. So I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. I am considering moving this to another night or day. We're looking at potentially Thursdays and Sundays. Not sure yet. Just gonna try and go on. I'm basically trying to look for what are the busier days, so that way we can get not only more viewers, but specifically more callers calling in.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to real quick thank my patrons: Cindy Plaza, Kenneth Leonard, Kathy Letto, Ian Davenport, Bestname Ever, the Blazing Wizard Pope. You guys all rock. And if you like what we do, consider becoming a Patreon yourself. There is a link in the description. You can sign up and give me as little as $1 a month. And believe it or not, it does make a difference.
I want to say real quick, since you mentioned Cindy, she had a great debate today. If you didn't see it, you should go back and watch it on YouTube, because she did she did really well.
What channel was it on?
That's on her channel. What was it? Reason to
Path to Reason. I think it's
Now
the
I feel bad. I get alerts from it. Let me see here.
Who did she debate?
Let me see. It should be in my history here, and I'll get the name for you just a second. There we go.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on her. Anyways, we do have our last caller. Let's get him on. Anthony, you are on with Brian and Ethan. How are you?
Not bad. How you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you. What do you got for us today?
I really haven't heard you guys' show yet, so I'm sort of not really sure what topics you guys are talking about right now.
So typically,
but I'm calling. Okay, go on.
It's open to supernatural claims, gods, ghosts, spirits, aliens, and conspiracy theories.
Oh, awesome! Right up my alley.
Good. All right, what do you got?
Well, I'm a long life abductee. All my life I've been taken, but I'm finding out now.
Sorry, can you real quick? Can you clarify that when you say abductee?
Well, the insectoid beings, they're the ones that come for me all the time.
So are we talking like aliens or?
Oh yeah, definitely alien. Extraterrestrials they're not from here. Actually, I don't really know. I've heard that they're interdimensional, so I'm not really sure. But they do or are able to control the soul. They have technology that's able to harness soul power and do whatever they want with it. Since soul is energy, it's just a way of harnessing electrical energy that we just don't know about yet. But that's what their main technology is based on. There's a lot of soul searching, and they tag on to from stuff that I've heard from Linda Moulton Howe. They are able to track souls, since all souls are from different parts of the universe. It's not just from Earth; it's from everywhere.
You gave a citation here. Can you say that name again? I just wanted to check it out.
Which one?
The one you just gave. Something Howe.
Oh, Lyndon Moulton Howe.
Lyndon Moulton Howe. I just want to check.
She's a research top researcher in this field for many years, many decades. She's done actual back in the 60s. She did an article, I think, with 5 abductees from the insectoid beings, and they all pretty much said the same thing. It's pretty crazy. I mean, when I first met them, I never knew about them. I always heard about little grays and all that stuff, and I never really. I mean, I've always sort of believed in that, and knew there was other things out there. But when I became face to face with it, that's when everything changed.
Real quick, where did you get that name for them? The insecto beings?
Well, they're called the mantis beings. Maybe even the ant people from what the Hopi tribe have talked about. They've been around forever.
Insectoid aliens.
In our.
Okay.
So when did this first happen?
Okay, the actual meeting happened almost 4 years ago. It was in November. I think it was like 2016. 2016. So 4 years ago, December is when I actually was taken by them, and they showed me a bunch of crazy stuff. And since then, I've actually have been remembering things from my past and putting together a lot of stuff that's happened to me over my many years. 47 now. So everything is sort of falling into place and making sense now of how everything in my life has been. I just recently had family that found us, and they were all abductees also. We got into this big old conversation, somehow led into the aliens, and they started telling me some stories, which I hadn't told them anything about me at that time. And they were just telling me some just crazy stories, how we're from the pyramids. Our bloodline is from the pyramids of Mexico. And my great uncle was telling me that he used to play in the, villages in his village with pyramids in it. and they would see like lights and balls of orbs and, you know, flying around. They said that was just normal to them every day. It goes over here because everybody thinks it's crazy and it's not real. It goes just, but everywhere else, it's you know, everybody's past.
So
it's in their culture.
I do just have to ask this real quick. You are being
Sure.
serious. You're not pranking the show by it, are you?
No, I'm completely 100% serious. I've actually done interviews, couple shows.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I have had a couple sightings that are posted on MUFON. So I've been out more and more sort of talking about it. I mean, I haven't talked about it in years because, of course, it's crazy and everybody thinks you're crazy and they think you're on drugs and all this stuff. And just, you know, just sort of, all right, who wants that kind of attention? You know, who wants to, I just forget about it. But my last time that actually just happened 3-4 months ago, that time it really sort of opened my eyes to what was really going on.
Hey, would it be possible just to go through just a brief step-by-step to the abduction process? Like, do you go to bed and then this happens? Are you driving down the road and something happens?
Okay, well, the first time it was during the daytime. It was 3 o'clock. I was putting my daughter to sleep. She was 1.5 at the time.
Okay.
And I went to lay down to take a nap and put her in the bed. I had the monitor up, you know, checked out the monitor. She was fine. It was 3:09. I turned around, laid my phone down on my pillow, and I put my head down on the pillow, and that's when you start to feel a vibration, like a tingling sensation, pins and needles. You hear a high-pitched ringing in your ear. Now, all my life that I've experienced this, and everybody says it's sleep paralysis and stuff, but in sleep paralysis, you have to be asleep. I'm never asleep. It happens right before I go to sleep. And sure enough, my whole body goes numb and paralyzes. I can't move. I know what's happening because it happens all the time. This is the time that I actually decided to just go with it, not fight it, because every time I fight it, I wake up the next morning and I really just wouldn't remember anything. And this time I said, I'm just going to go with it. So my body ends up starting to raise up off the bed about 1 inch. I start to slip towards the foot of the bed. And I remember thinking, I'm going to fall off the bed because I'm moving, just sliding off the bed. And next thing you know it, I'm picking up speed. I'm going faster. And I'm like, wait a minute, I should have fell off the bed a long time ago. My stomach is being taken away, like a roller coaster ride type thing. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm moving so fast. I open my eyes up and I'm in space. I'm seeing stars, I'm seeing planets, everything whizzed by.
In a ship?
It was just,
or like,
just,
what are you in?
You're just floating?
Now I've always thought about this. I don't remember seeing anything but just what I'm seeing. I don't remember looking down at my hands or looking around me. I remember just seeing this and stopping in front of a planet that was so big, and it was just so peaceful how it just sort of turned very slowly, and the colors were just amazing. It was just different violets, greens. The clouds were shaped like a zebra pattern across the world. It was just very alien looking,
Okay.
but yet, just crazy, just so different. When I look down, I see a wormhole open up, blue vortex, and I go right into this vortex. And now I'm traveling even faster than before. And I'm seeing just clusters of stars. I mean, it's so beautiful, the colors of everything. And I'm starting to see other of these blue tubes, and they're all traveling near me and around, and it looks like a highway system. And these blue tubes are going into this massive white light. Now, this ball of light was just crazy light, and these tubes are going right into it. And it just felt like I was going too far. And at that moment, I was like, I got to go back. My daughter's home. alone because I'm not there, and I felt a jolt back, and I'm in my body now. And you feel that kind of falling feeling, that one is like, oof, and then you're like, okay. I open my eyes and I look. Okay, go ahead.
So do you feel that your body was still there on the bed, and that your soul, your spirit, was pulled out of your body? Is that kind of the direction we're taking that? Not, you weren't physically removed, you were spiritually removed?
And I thought about this a lot. I felt I was being physically moved. Felt like I was being pulled off the bed, but yeah, I didn't fall. I didn't see any of my body parts or anything. I didn't see any kind of mechanism around me. I was just there in the moment of everything. I don't know, but from everything that I'm thinking, yeah. And then from everything that I've heard Linda Moulton Howe talk about and how they're masters of the soul and manipulating energy, it just sort of takes me to that sort of scenario. That's probably somehow they're able to either put the memories in my head. Maybe it's not even my memories. Maybe it's memories of them. Maybe they're somehow transferring stuff to me. I don't know. All I know is what I witnessed and what I experienced. And that's it.
There is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a sleep paralysis that can happen as you're falling asleep. So if it's while you're trying to fall asleep, it's called hypnagogic or predormital. And then if it happens after you're waking up, it's called hypnopompic or postdormital. Am I saying that right, Brian?
Yeah, sounds all right to me, but I'm not sure. I've only ever read these terms.
So yeah, there is the possibility of you getting sleep paralysis while falling asleep. Are you open to that being a possibility?
Well, everything's a possibility. But it wasn't like I closed my eyes and like, this is like Nightmare on Elm Street where you just fall asleep.
Right.
It takes, a while to, get into REM sleep, which is how, when you wake up, you're talking about when you wake up and then, yeah, your body is, your body's still sleeping, your mind's waking up, and that's why you feel paralyzed.
Your mind's partially awake. I experienced night terror for years, or not night terrors, I'm sorry, sleep paralysis with night terrors. It was awful. My experience was a little different than yours, what I was seeing and experiencing when I would have those, but it was I've done some research on it and kind of think I have a lockdown what I was experiencing. Not to discredit your experiences, but
right.
Go ahead.
No, I totally get that. I mean, science has to come up with a scientific explanation, just like they came up with a scientific explanation of phantom pregnancies. Thousands of women say they were pregnant and all of a sudden the fetus is gone, but some even have proof that there was a fetus in there and it's gone, so they say it's a phantom pregnancy. The body absorbed the fetus, whatever. They can come up with whatever, and then they say it's published in the scientific journal and that's what it is. It doesn't mean that's what it is. I mean, that's the best case they can come up with, best theory, what they come up with, and they post it in the scientific journal, and that's it.
Just to clarify, you don't really just post it in the scientific journal and that's it. There's usually hours of research and experimentation and field research with double blind test, that kind of thing. I don't want to put out the message that says that the way that you get this information, we're just filling in the blank with whatever we think it is. There's actual research that goes into this. Not to say that that's what you're experiencing, but these phenomenon are real, and these scientific explanations.
I'm sure there's sleep paralysis the way they're talking about. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
That's always happening. Definitely, it always makes sense. But when you wake up after this supposedly, hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we can hear you, bud.
Okay, sorry. But when you wake up after this, sleep paralysis, and you turn around, that's when the being was standing right before me. He was about 9 feet tall. He stood about close to the top of my curtains, maybe a little bit above. very, very tall, long legs. Wore a outfit, a triangle kind of outfit that went off the shoulders, like sort of like the 80s kind of women off the shoulder type thing, and
Shoulder
went down
pads?
to the waist. What?
Like shoulder pads? You say 80s, like the shoulder
exactly.
pads?
Exactly. But more like, pronounced, sort of like the old space suits and stuff you see, they sort of go off the shoulders like that. Something like that. The material was sort of like metallic looking, but not really a metallic film. But it looked like it was shiny. It was really hard to really tell what kind of material it was, but it had a shine to it, and it was a sort of a dark gray to a greenish kind of tint to it. It had an emblem. I can't remember what the emblem was, but the face was really long, narrow, had teardrop eyes, black eyes, all black, definitely insect looking. Had feeler tentacles on the bottom of his lip or chin. It clicked his neck over when I started to get up, and I remember thinking, I'm not scared. I've been waiting for this because I sort of always known. I don't know. I just wasn't scared. And I don't know if they did that to me or to ease me or whatever, but I just wasn't afraid. And you would think you would be afraid of some 9-foot
I would be.
mantis being, and no, it was just more of a relief and glad to see it. I can't explain it. That's the way it felt.
Let me ask you this. Would you be opposed to setting up, I don't know if you have like an extra phone or a webcam, but would you be opposed to setting up a camera while you sleep?
Even a laptop.
I've actually thought about doing that, or even going to like a sleep study, because I don't sleep a lot. I mean, I have severe insomnia, probably because I'm always thinking somebody's going to take me. I don't know.
Yeah, you should definitely consider a sleep study. I know I went many years ago, and they had identified sleep apnea, and because I wasn't sleeping well at all. I was constantly waking up choking, and it was horrible. But my knock on wood, my sleep apnea has since gone away since I dropped weight and got healthier. Would you be open to, I guess, not only seeing if you can get a sleep study? Granted, if you don't have insurance, I know that could be difficult. But not only that, but would you be willing to start recording? Okay, let me ask you this: how often do these occurrences happen?
Well, they happen every about 3 or 4 years, and they'll take a break after a while, and then they'll come back for about 3 weeks, a couple weeks.
So do you know when you're due for one again?
Crazy things happen.
Okay.
Oh, my daughter, she's also been taken with me. She's 4 now. They're very interested in her. The last time that they came was the time where I sort of realized what was really going on. So it's just been one thing after another that's been leading up to this moment for my whole life. And everybody's like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. It's like, no, this is just my life. When I was 12, there was an alien handprint on the window that glowed. My cousin saw it. We all went in the backyard, saw nothing, and there's this huge handprint on the window. There's been several times where I was in accidents. I should have been killed. Was never killed. I'm an immaculate conception. My parents didn't have sex happen to me.
So,
true.
My biggest concern here is that you might not be getting enough sleep. And what if, for instance, when you say like it occurs every 3 years and then shows up, what if it's occurring when you're getting more and more sleep deprived and your anxiety's heightened, and then this occurrence happens, maybe you get some more sleep and then it goes away? Because I know when I go for longer periods of time without sleep, my brain goes to funny places.
No, that's a bit reach right there. That's no. So I get sleep to where I'm not, crazy.
Okay.
I do get enough of that sleep. What I'm saying is I don't sleep long hours. Yes, I probably should sleep a lot better, more hours and stuff, but I don't. I wake up a lot. And does that mess with my intelligence or my, experiences? No, because this has been all my life. This has literally been all my life.
Regarding your daughter, if we can just approach that subject for a second. When you say she's been taken with you, is she independently verifying this to you? I know you said she's very young. Is she recounting this experience with you back to you, or are you just experiencing her being there when you have the experience of being taken?
No, she's actually told me when we woke up of the beings we met. Then she went and told her mom, which I didn't know. Her mom told me. Her mom called me up and was telling me some stuff, and she's also actually believes me of the stuff that's happened because she's lived with me, and a lot of weird things have happened in those 4 years we lived together. My daughter tells her some really strange things that she's like tripping out about, and so I mean, my daughter does corroborate my story. I really didn't think she was telling her mom stuff like that, but she is, and me and her mom already really talked about all this. And
this never happened when you were like say you're operating a vehicle or going for a walk or anything. Does it usually happen when you're in more of a sedate situation? You're sitting down or laying down?
No, there was one time I was in my car. I was at a stop sign. It was about 12 midnight, and the whole car just lit up in lights from on top. Crazy lights. It's the brightest lights you've ever seen. And I went to get out, and it just disappeared. No sound, no nothing. It was up in Hesperia. At that time, there was really nothing out there. It was just so quiet.
Was there any time loss or anything?
I really, tell you the truth, I don't remember. I don't remember if I had time loss or not. I do remember that incident. I remember getting back in my car and driving home and going to sleep.
Did you have time loss in any of your other incidents?
Excuse me?
Did you have any time lost in any of your other experiences?
Yes. When the first time I was taken and I looked at the time, the clock was 3:09. That whole trip, everything that I experienced was 9 minutes was gone. It was about 3:20. Okay. 3:19, 3:20 is when I looked at the clock again. When I turned around, because I woke up, I opened my eyes, and that's when I saw my phone on the pillow, and that's when I saw the reflection of the being standing in front of me, behind me. I turned around, that's when I saw my monitor, because first thing was look at the monitor for my daughter, and I saw the time, which was it just turned 3:20. I looked at and that's when I looked up and saw the big old praying mantis being, actually looked more like a grasshopper than praying mantis.
So here, and I don't know if you would consider this, and here, at least, let me tell you, if I was in your scenario, what I would personally do, just because I am someone who likes to rule out natural explanations before I jump to a supernatural or like an alien explanation.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
If it was me, the first thing I would do is I would want to see a sleep specialist so they could look into what's going on, because you never know, they may be able to witness what or figure out what is happening, and which could, if you do find it as a natural explanation, it could alleviate a lot of stress and a lot of concern.
So, okay, yeah, I mean, so what you're saying is you're thinking that this is stress or coming brought on by sleep deprivation, right?
I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying for me, I always want to rule out the natural things first, the things that are essentially right in front of our face. So I would want to go to a sleep specialist, and I would want to see a neurologist, because I'd want to make sure, like, hey, is there something going on or impeding my brain in any way, first and foremost, before I say, hey, look, these are definitely aliens. Because again, if there's aliens, I want to know. I would love to meet aliens, although I don't want to get abducted or anything. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Are you open to that?
I'm always open to anything. You can do polygraph tests on me. I don't care. I mean, I'm down to take my detector test. I'm down to take.
No.
Anything. Like any test anybody wants to give me, I'm fine with it.
I don't.
I've tried to go to a psychiatrist or like a therapist about these issues, and they literally laughed me off and hung up on me.
It's sad. That should not be
really
happening.
nobody else. But it's true. It happened. I called 3 different therapists, and they just, I need somebody to talk to about this stuff. But there's really nobody to talk to because people just don't believe. But yet there's a religion that's based on all these crazy, happenings back, 6,000 years ago, and everybody's like, oh, that was real. But what you just witnessed is not real. It can never be real.
Well, so for the record,
this has been happening for generations upon generations to millions and millions of people. You cannot sit there and disclaim every single person when many of those people are very credited individuals. You just can't.
No,
it comes to a point where all this non-proof becomes proof, because not everybody is going to be lying about everything. Not, a lot of people have actual proof. So if that one person has proof, then why is everybody else lying? Just because they don't have proof? I mean, they just have proof showing that it was real, that it did happen. So if there are beings that are doing this, but everybody else is lying because they don't have proof, that makes no sense.
Well, no, I definitely, for the record, I don't think you're lying. I can't speak for Brian, but I don't think he thinks you're lying either.
No, I think that that what you're experiencing is a real phenomenon that's happening to you. I do think that, whether it's a natural sleep disorder or something extra natural, supernatural, extraterrestrial, I don't know. And I don't want to speculate because I'm not qualified to make that kind of assessment. But I do like to pull out the natural explanations and see how they how the situation holds up. I do see some parallels to your experiences and experiences that I've had with sleep paralysis, and I don't want to apply my experiences directly towards yours, because there was no, the beings that I experienced were very different from what you're experiencing. The time, the situation, there were factors included with my experiences that maybe not paralleled directly with yours. However, some things like what you said with feeling like you were gone for hours, but only a few minutes had passed, and things like that. That's definitely a very, very relevant to sleep paralysis experiences, though.
And regarding your religious comment, no, for where I stand, I think aliens are far more likely than anything supernatural. So I'm on the same page with you there. I just personally would like to eliminate all other possibilities first and foremost, because honestly, I do feel bad for you that you're not getting the sleep you need. I know, at least me, if I was in your position, my anxiety would be heightened. I would get terrified to go to sleep, because on one end, sure, I want to see aliens, but on the other end, I don't want to be abducted. That's terrifying.
And getting laughed at by a healthcare professional when you try to bring this to their attention that you're having these experiences, that's ridiculous. That's so unprofessional. That should never have happened to you. No one should ever treated you that way for bringing this to them.
Well, I mean, what was the first thing you guys said? Are you being serious? I get it. I totally get it, because I tell my friends, I tell my family and stuff, because I'm done being quiet about it. I'm done.
It was more of a situation where
and going through this.
We're vetting for trolls more than that. Right. We just doubt you specifically.
Sometimes we get people who purposefully make really large claims only to mess with us. So I was just trying to navigate the waters and see, okay, are we taking this? Is this person being serious? If so, I want to take this conversation seriously. Or is this person messing with me? So then we can just get rid of the call right from the get-go.
No, well, I mean, I'm definitely serious. Like I said, I've been on a couple other, the Bradley Powers show with Cass. I've done their YouTube show a couple times. But I'm just sort of more, this is more of a therapeutic thing for me now. It's sort of turned into, and I'm actually probably thinking about opening up my own little YouTube and having just, being able to talk about it, and I really don't care what people think and talk, but me being able to talk about this and verifying it, like validating it and stuff in my head, like it just sort of makes me feel better. And I mean, there's just it's like basically knowing the biggest secret in the world, and everybody thinks you're crazy, and that's pretty stressful right there. You're like, I've seen breeding facilities, man. I was brought to a breeding facility, little baby hybrids crawling around. This is happening, they're going about their daily business. I mean, it's crazy stuff,
Yeah.
but nobody wants to believe. And
I think we need to stop putting
what am I going to do,
No, and we need to stop putting a crazy label on people. And I definitely would not do that.
We are both advocates for not calling people crazy for having these claims, even religious claims, supernatural claims. It doesn't mean you're crazy. What your experience is, and talking to you, I feel like you're being genuine with me. This is what you feel is happening, which is fine. I'm a skeptic, so I'm always going to be looking for the natural cause, unfortunately. But I'm not here to discount you. I'm glad you feel comfortable giving us a call and talking to us about this, because so many people have these experiences, whether they're real or not, are so stigmatized that they're afraid to reach out about them. And it can be scary. These kind of things can be scary. And if you don't have access to someone you can unload on essentially about these without getting laughed at, which is ridiculous, all it's going to do is compound it.
Yeah. I do talk about it to my daughter, because she actually has come forward a couple times and asking me questions about, the insectoids and stuff. And she has this really profound look on insects. It's really pretty crazy, and it's just like the way she treats them and everything. She talks to them, and, it's like she always tells, those are my friends, they take me places. It's like, I'm not making this up. And
there are totally not videos of me talking to my insects.
We do have to wrap it up. Brian, did you have any more questions?
No, this has been really good. If you do get a YouTube channel launched, I'd come on and talk to you some more. Or if you want to give us a call back at some point and talk more about your experiences, we're here. I'm here every other Tuesday. We're talking about changing the time slot, but stay tuned, and we'll keep everybody updated on how that works out. But
otherwise,
thank you so much for calling in.
Awesome. Great. Well, Anthony, I appreciate you taking the time to call in today. I hope you get some sleep. That's for sure. and I hope you have a good week.
Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Talk to you later. This here's what I love about this show right now, Brian, is we open the doors to more people. We're not just stuck on one topic, just supernatural claims over and over again. We get to talk about conspiracy theories and aliens, and all of those are topics that fascinate me. And
me too.
It's sad that this man clearly had went and sought out medical help, and he was just laughed at. That's the medical community. It should not be doing that. When someone, we should take people at their word and look at it and investigate it and see what we can do to help them, and not just call someone crazy because to us it may sound extreme or outlandish. And it sounds like he just needs someone to talk to. And that's sad that he's been unable to find that.
Right, especially when you're seeking medical help. I'm not saying that what he experiences was happening anywhere besides the inside of his own head, but that doesn't mean he's crazy. It means he's actually having these experiences, and he's reaching out to somebody for help, and they're mocking him. That's ridiculous. I guess that's the third time I've said that since he mentioned that, but I can't not stand that. That's not any way people should be treating these kind of claims. We shouldn't be labeling people as crazy. We should listen and try to understand what they're experiencing. some people are going to be disingenuous. Some people are going to call and make up stories and want attention. And that's some people are going to be more susceptible to stimuli that's making them feel like they're having these experiences. But
Right.
there's always an answer to it if we really take the time to look.
Exactly. And I'm with you. I don't like calling religious people crazy or mentally ill. In fact, you and I got into it with someone on Twitter over that because this person was just being completely rude to people who believe in religion and God. And to me, at least for me, this is not the platform for that. We're not here to insult people or call people crazy. And I don't think we should be doing that at all to anybody.
Right. Mental illness is not something to just deride someone about. We all could benefit from a little bit of mental health care. Every single person on this planet could benefit from having someone to listen to
Yes.
talk about their mental health struggles, the things that they deal with daily. Just being able to open up. And some of these experiences might sound crazy because you're not living them, but give that person the chance to express what they have going on and why they feel the way they do about it.
This was a good show, Brian. I enjoyed it.
Yes, I had a lot of fun. Great callers tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Super
What
friendly
we got going on this week?
Well, this is Halloween, Halloween week, and then election week next week. I don't know which one's scarier, but on Halloween, I have the premiere of my new video. Will be at 1:00 on Saturday, Central Standard Time. Then I am going to be on Neil the 604 Atheist show for Halloween night. And we're going to do like a little bug show. I'm going to talk a little bit about my history and some of my history with the ghost hunting stuff. And how I kind of got to where I am in my belief systems, if you will. And then other than that, on the 7th of November, we're revisiting Monsters in the Bible. I'm going to have Chris Mallard from the Daily Atheist and Jim Majors coming on to talk about the undead in the Bible. So we are going to be exploring that. It's going to be fun.
That's great. If you want to check out BrainBug, in the video description, you'll see his Twitter and a link to his YouTube. Tonight at 9:00 on my Facebook only, I'll be doing a stream with my friend Holly. We'll be talking about dating over 30. Won't be on YouTube. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. will be my last episode of my political show on youtube.com/YFNA News, which is in black and white. It is our final plea to our Republican friends not to vote for Donald Trump. So it will be a political roundtable starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then Sunday, the Ethan and Jenna show at 11 a.m. And it is mental health and holidays. So that's what I got going on. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out Brian's channel. Also, turn the notification bell on so you get notified every time we go live. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, everyone.